Hey B, do you want to talk about season 1, episode 5 of Criminal Minds, Broken Mirror?
James, I would love to talk about season 1, episode 5 of Criminal Minds, Broken Mirror.
Hell yeah, we fucking nailed that.
We did. Knocking off your bingo cards, folks. We finally done it. We did the intro good now.
God. Don't you dare say we bungled it.
Don't you dare say we bungled that, because that was not a bungle. That was a professional unbungling, actually, I would say.
Unbungling.
I love the phrase bungled because my mom is a preschool teacher. So when I grew up, we had to use alternative words to swears because she did that teacher thing where she would come home and still like be in teacher mode sometimes. So whenever I was like, oh, I screwed this up, she's like, no, you bungled it. It's okay. And I'm like, you use this word with third graders?
Bungled.
Bungled? You're teaching these third graders in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, that the word bungled is commonplace? They're gonna get made fun of like a fuck ton for that, but I respect it, Tammy.
Hilarious. It's so funny. There's a video, or Paget Brewster has a few episodes of, well, I guess, take that off your bingo cards. Paget Brewster has a couple episodes of Drunk History.
She does.
And on one of them, she says she's gonzo bonzo, like, trashed. So every time now we talk about being drunk, it's like, I'm, pretty gonzo bonzo. I was really gonzo bonzo that night. Like,
I love using gonzo bonzo because isn't that the Muppet Gonzo?
There is a Muppet named Gonzo.
I love just thinking about a Muppet that's just fucking trashed.
The drunk Muppet. The one drunk Muppet.
Yeah.
Gonzo Bonzo.
This is our new Muppet Gonzo. He's an alcoholic. He's very trash.
And when he gets really drunk, he just goes, Gonzo Bonzo. I cannot imagine that's where the phrase comes from. It's got to be like, I'm gone. And then like Gonzo, but that's fake.
But it's the Muppet now, actually. We've established it is the Muppet.
Okay. Broken Mirror. No Garcia or JJ in this episode. Which none. Is
disappointing because I feel like this episode they really could have used both of them.
Both of them. So Reed on his dumb little laptop is trying to trace the phone call.
Well, they're like tracing it at the nearby FBI field office that we are told exists somewhere, I guess.
Right.
And so I guess he just has a monitor open to that. But it's so weird that they're doing such a tech-heavy episode. They're like, let's not bring in the computer kid.
And also, JJ to not be there when it's like, so the father is a U.S. attorney, executive assistant. I don't know what that means. I assume it's something to do with like the president.
Yeah, it's like, a U.S. If he's like a U.S. attorney, they mentioned he was like in like the Southern District or whatever. So he was probably one of the head U.S. attorneys for the South. This would be a media nightmare. And
right,
JJ,
so why is JJ not there? I wonder if they were like, our victim is a young blonde. Like if they were like, JJ's gonna look too much like her.
The other thing is I think they didn't buy enough episodes for AJ Cook. I think they only put, 20 episodes in her contract, so there's a few that she's gonna have to step out on.
I hate that. I mean, I get it, but I just like that.
It's something that's really obvious once you know that that's how they, like, package, like, secondary characters. Is they're like, we're only gonna buy 18 episodes from you. You're only gonna get 18. And so there's just sometimes where they're just gone, and sometimes they'll play it off like, oh, she's off visiting family, or oh, she's sick this day. Sometimes there will just be no mention. Nothing. Yeah.
Garcia gets mentioned. Like, they're like, oh, we'll have Garcia look this up for us. I have it written down. We'll get there. But nothing from JJ.
I do want people to know that James has 3 full-ass pages of notes. If you hear paper rustling during this episode, if we do ASMR paper rustling, James looks through their notes for 20 minutes, it's because they have 3 full pages of notes. I have 7 bullet points. That's
I like to be prepared. There's nothing wrong with being prepared.
And I'm so glad that you're the one who, like, I'm gonna get 3 pages of notes. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna get 3 pages.
Okay, so let's go through the episode. Broken
Let's
Mirror.
go over the episode.
So first off, it's called Broken Mirror because they are mirror twins. Trish and Cheryl are twins, but they're mirrored.
Which means their organs are on the other side of one of them?
Yeah, but it's not like that can be a life-threatening condition if you have your organs on the wrong side of your body, or even just some of them because your circulatory system doesn't work that way,
Yeah.
So it can be a bad thing. But they say in the episode that it was only a few organs, and that like once she survived like infancy, it like wasn't a big deal. But they are mirror twins. Uh, and that's why it's called Broken Mirror because it gets split up.
Wow.
You know.
The symbolism runs so deep this episode.
Honestly, the show is like so deep.
I'm so surprised they didn't have a scene in like a bathroom where one of the agents is like looking into a mirror really dramatically. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was very surprised that I got through the whole episode and I'm like, not a single mirror scene, you guys? Come on.
They should have had the girl like look into a mirror and be like, "I miss my twin." Like,
yeah, and like, it's just
yeah.
Sometimes you see an episode name and you're like, okay, so this is what we're doing this episode. And you're like, okay, so somebody's gonna have a breakdown in a mirror, right? Right? And then you get 30 minutes in the episode and you're like, right? Right? And then the episode is over and you're like, okay, fine, okay. I guess I was wrong on this one. Criminal Minds, you've outsmarted me this time.
Okay, so Trish is at a party with her boyfriend, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just buzzed. I'm not drunk." So she has him like touch the nose, the finger, walk in a straight line, lets him drive.
Yeah, hey, friends don't let friends drive drunk, gang. Don't do it.
Yeah.
This is our PSA. Don't drive when you're even a little buzzed.
And he's distracted and almost crashes into a pickup truck that is stopped in the road. There is so much space to go around that truck. And instead, they get out of the car. It's the middle of the night.
Yeah. You know how you can tell an episode was written by a man sometimes? This is one of those times.
This is a callback to that first episode where she just like gets in the fucking car. This is the same thing. They just stop and get out.
It's
whose
like,
truck it is.
Sometimes it's like, okay, so you were written by a man or you were written by somebody who feels safe doing that, which could not be me. No. And it's like, okay, so I know that you needed to get them from point A to point B. I get it. Okay, fine. Yeah. The boyfriend gets shot in the fucking face, though.
Okay, here's the thing. Trish is standing right in front of their car. Mm-hmm. Practically sitting on the hood.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She doesn't hear somebody pull the keys out of the ignition walking on that crunchy ass dirt gravel road. Like, I don't believe that for a second.
Also, why do you turn the car off in the first place?
His headlights were still on. His headlights were on.
So your car was on. So the guy turned off your car.
You didn't notice that.
And then took the keys.
You didn't notice that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, okay.
Maybe in like an old car, you could leave the headlights on. If I try to get out of my car without turning the headlights off, my car screams at me like I've murdered.
Yeah, my car does the most annoying beeping sound known to man. Like, hey, look this on. Like, okay, I get it. I understand.
If I open my door and the keys are still in the ignition, the car yells at me. Mm-hmm. If I like open the door with my headlights still on, the car yells at me. This car, I guess, in 2006, this kid has a shitty car. Doesn't do that. They don't notice. So, yeah, the gun comes in, pointed at the guy's face, kill the boyfriend. Pew-pew.
Just like shoots him in the face.
In the face.
Which is an important point that we will come back to later.
Yeah. That girl's scarred for life.
Yeah, definitely.
Just, forget it.
There is so much trauma there that we do not have time to unpack. We are a comedy podcast.
Yeah, okay, so then it cuts to Derek and Spencer. Mm-hmm. Derek says, so how was the Redskins game? And Spencer says, top secret.
Fucking nerd.
Clearly it did not work out.
Clearly it did not go well.
But he just says, it's top secret. And just...
And then also some a woman comes by and is like flirting with Derek. He's like, you could have just sent this like through the
Oh, yeah,
building mail, and she's like, I could have.
yeah. And then that girl walks away, and another woman looks at Derek as they pass by, and Rita's like, "Bro, wow, you're really getting all that." And Derek though says he doesn't sleep. He basically says he doesn't sleep with women in the building
Which is like
because
a good workplace policy.
100%. Spencer could learn a thing or two. But then they say that there's no rule about socializing, which
They
is
later walk that back because they wanted to make Rossi into the sluttiest grandpa known to man, apparently, I guess. Because they were
it's
like,
like
Rossi's the reason for all of those socialization rules that apparently didn't exist
oh,
until
it's
he
like
came back on team.
they call it like fraternizing.
Yeah,
I think it's like no relationships between like team members is the implication.
Mm-hmm.
But Spencer is like, you don't have to date them. You're allowed to sleep with them. Like, okay, Spencer.
Okay, get it, nerd, I guess?
Get it, nerd? Yeah. Oh, and then we learn that Haley is on bed rest. She's 6 weeks out from having her baby.
And
Oh,
the doctors are worried about like her
like
like blood
fine.
pressure or something like that, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah. So she's on bed
Some
rest.
fucking medical mumbo jumbo. We're not
Yeah.
doctors.
Okay, but she says, "Okay, I love you," and he goes, "Bye," and hangs up the phone. I literally wrote down, "Hush, doesn't say I love you" to his wife. Like, maybe it's because Elle had knocked on the door. Maybe like Elle was in the room, and Hotch is like, "I can't let Elle know I'm whipped." My
I
pregnant
can't let no
wife.
other people that I love my wife so goddamn much. I can't let other people know that. Like, it's okay to be a wife guy, Hotch. You can just be a wife guy.
Hotch, your wife is very pregnant. We can assume you have some sort of affection for her. Hotch.
Hotch?
Yeah. So this is another very weird way they get a case. Elle knocks on the door. Hotch says, "Is it here?" And she says, "Yes." They walk, across the catwalk to the conference room. He gets Morgan, he gets Reed, and he's like, documents are up on the screen. Like, let's go look at them. And he says he's already read them because they came from like the county document analysis person. And then they just like read the ransom note together on the screen, and then they leave. Oh, and they have 9 hours until the
You have
phone
9 hours. They were like, the guy's gonna call at 9 p.m. or whatever.
Why not just print a copy and read it on the plane?
They
Like, if
didn't.
you're in a rush.
Did they have any plane shots on this episode? Did they have
Yes.
any plane scenes?
Yes, they did. It was
Okay,
very
so
short.
they got the plane set. You had access to the set.
Yeah.
Just reading it, whatever. They were probably did it because they did the fun thing where they're like, "This is Patricia's handwriting."
Yeah, and they
Like-
did like a flash, flash, flash,
Yeah.
flash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have 9 hours to until the phone call, until the ransom phone call. So they have 9 hours to fly to Connecticut, talk to the people, and get set up. So there's a time limit. We find out that the father is a U.S. attorney, very big. He's gotten death threats a bunch, and he's been assigned U.S. Marshals 3 times because of his death threat. So they immediately think that this kidnapping of his daughter has something to do with him and his job. Yeah.
Which is fair to think when this man apparently gets death threats every quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you find out that he has a round-the-clock security system, but when Trish turned 18, she declined to keep having security. So she has no bodyguards. Cheryl does, but Trish doesn't.
And they also they mentioned that both girls took like self-protection classes, like
the dad like
all of that stuff. So like you can assume they did not go quietly into that good night.
Oh yeah, and so we're not quite there yet, but yeah, but when Cheryl like lays on the ground, she's like laying on the dirt, and she's like, "Listen," I like that she's like, "Ugh, that twin bullshit." Like, if she gets pricked with a pin, I don't feel it, but like, yes, I can tell that she's alive. It's like such an interesting like contradiction. But then Derek does his fucking like
Live
okay.
action role play bullshit.
Yeah, and then she literally is like, "Oh, and that's scientific." I
I kind of
was
like
like, "Good for
Cheryl,
you."
honestly,
No, I did
because
too.
she's just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I know my sister's alive, but also you're a grown ass man role playing on a dirt road.
It's like so funny because he's just in the fucking like trees. He's just like in the trees,
He's
and
just
Cheryl's
like
like,
turning around in a circle, thinking really hard.
yeah,
I'm like,
it's like him surrounded by branches, and Cheryl's like, what is he doing? And I was like, he's role playing, and he's just like in the fucking woods, like,
if something bad happened to you,
yeah,
how high up on the list is the phrase he's role playing? How high is that on the
Jesus.
list of like things that don't inspire confidence in your loved ones in the police? Like, how high up is that? Because like that's
It's
pretty much like
honestly,
number one for me. If the police have to role play to get me back, I'm fucked.
he's role playing is right below. I'm keeping you in my thoughts and prayers.
Oh, okay, good one. Good,
You know,
good one. Yeah.
it's like I'm keeping you in my prayers. I'm role playing. I'll figure it out. Like somebody saying, "Let's talk this through." It's just where you're like, "Faster, please."
Please
So a
find
little
me.
faster, please. Thank you. Yeah. So okay. So when they get to the house, they find out they've already checked everyone on his security detail. No one's shady. They announced they were very conspicuous announcement that the house is bug free.
We
No
love
bugs.
a good Chekov's bug sweep, baby.
Oh, I wrote down Elle looks so hot.
As she does, dude.
When they're like outside and she's like talking to Cheryl, I was like, ooh, damn. She's got the dark
Okay.
lipstick, she's got the eyeliner, the dark like straight hair, and she's all like, Cheryl, that's so interesting. Tell me more about your senses. Like, I was like, okay, Elle.
There
I
are
was like,
some
what?
times that I wish we did a video version of this podcast just so everybody else can see the hand motion that you just did.
Leave me
Okay.
alone. Oh. Yeah, yeah.
She does look very good this episode.
So it's very.
And
It's the
she
dark
does
red.
very good. Like,
Ugh.
Queen.
She has some prime eye rolls, some prime mean lesbian glaring.
It's
Like,
so good that they
yeah.
made every single woman to ever come on the BAU queer.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we have so many fun, mean lesbians. Ugh.
Everyone on this show. Garcia can be bi, but everyone else on the show is a mean lesbian.
Literally.
Yeah.
And like, I get it. You know? Who better to hunt down the worst of society than mean lesbians?
Okay, listen. Speaking of hunting down, Elle literally says, "The men I hunt down."
Yeah.
Cheryl is like, how do you do it? How do you stand it? And I was like, the men I hunt down are like the worst men. And I get them. And I put them away and I like destroying them. Like she has like a thing where she goes, fuck men, I will kill them.
Queen shit.
That's
That
some
is
hot girl
shit.
Hot girl shit.
Hot girl shit. This is I just
Yeah. Okay. We gotta get back.
I'm getting a little warm again. I'm sorry.
Reed does his so this was pretty interesting. There has been discussion on Tumblr about this. It's very dramatic. But he does his like speed reading thing. And the guy is like, can you actually read that fast? And he responds with, our conscious mind can only read this much, but our unconscious mind can read this much. And the guy's like, huh? What? And Reed is like, yes, I can. And it's like, even if you don't understand the like words per minute or whatever the fuck, like you get it. Oh, he's using his subconscious. Like
the answer is yes. He can read that fast.
This guy's like a fucking attorney. And
yeah,
he can't like
this
guy's
like, a very
then.
smart guy, apparently, to be a decorated US attorney, and yet
Like
What?
if Reed
Like,
says our
okay.
conscious mind can do this, but our subconscious mind can do more, you'd be like, oh, okay, so he's using his subconscious mind. It wouldn't be like, what? Alien language? Math? Like, poor Reed. Half the shit he says isn't even like
That
that
complicated.
complicated. And
Yeah.
everyone is just like, weird boy. Weird skinny
But also, Reed
boy.
is a weird boy, so
Yeah.
it
But he's not,
works.
yeah, he's not weird in like that way. But he's like, I just feel bad. I'm just like, it's okay, Reed. They're just dumb. Like sometimes it's not that he's like crazy smart. It's that the people he's talking to are very dumb.
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, I can understand half of what Reed says, and I'm dumb as hell. Okay. Um. Oh, Derek's okay. Derek role plays, and he comes to the most obvious conclusion. He literally comes
Yeah.
to the conclusion they killed the boyfriend to get her. Like, yeah, bruh, the boyfriend is here and dead, and she's gone. They cared about her, not the boyfriend. Like, I his role playing was useless. Okay, I'm the unsub.
Yeah, there was really
They just
no
had to do some
reason.
profiling. They just had to profile something,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
He's like, he shot him in the face. This was personal. The fuck did you think a gunshot to the face meant otherwise?
I know, that's like, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I
no
guess
shit, it's personal.
I think he was realizing like, oh, it wasn't about the attorney, maybe.
Or he's like, it wasn't a crime of chance.
Yeah,
It
so I
was
guess I get
specifically
that.
for that. And like, okay, but say that.
Yeah, and
Say
he's
that
all
then.
they already know they shot the dude in the face. You know, like you have
Yeah.
that information already. They've got that. So it's just like it didn't feel like he learned anything new, but whatever. And you find out that Trish is like a fighter. There were like scratch marks on like the car seat where she
Mm-hmm.
like scratched the shit out of the car trying to like escape. Good for her. Um, then we get the unsub is in. Well, we don't know he's the a guy who works presumably for the FBI
Mm-hmm.
brings in the like phone call tracing
Yeah,
button thing.
the tracing software.
Yeah, and he like puts it in. He's like, "Don't worry, Cheryl, you're in good hands. Okay, bye." And then, oh, I have this fun team teasing where Morgan is like, reads like, "I don't know." Contrary to what you might think, I don't know everything. And Morgan is like, "When have I ever said that?" And reads like, all the time. And Elle says, this morning at breakfast.
Like they all had breakfast together like a family.
Or Morgan and Elle had breakfast together. It was some weird, like, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Morgan called Reed. I guess they would have had to have breakfast all together. They eat breakfast together.
They're literally a family, I'm just saying.
Do you think they, like, meet up at, like, a place and eat breakfast? Or they, like, all bring it in and eat it together in the kitchen?
I would have to guess they all bring it in and eat it in the kitchen, right? Like somebody's like, hey, I'll bring in some fucking breakfast sandwiches on Tuesday.
But we saw Morgan and Reed like walking into the FBI building together, and then Elle like came in after them. So like
Yeah, but then they had breakfast after that.
they
Breakfast
got on
is
the plane after that.
breakfast isn't just like a concept of eating food. Breakfast is a state of mind.
Thanks, thank you, thank you.
Breakfast is a state of mind.
Yeah, and then and then I like that Hotch has appeared to like tell them it's like time, but he waits for them to finish teasing, and then he's like, "Yesterday when Reed beat you at cards, it's time to go." He like also
Yeah.
teases Morgan.
He's like, I want to get one more hidden. One
Yeah,
more. Just
yeah.
once. Hey
I
guys,
feel
we
like
gotta go
that's
now.
I feel like that's one of the first little team teasing things we get, where you see
Yeah.
Hotch, even though Hotch is this like stiff dude, he still like takes a second to also like join in on the ribbing, you know? Very cute. I love Hotch. Well, I
This
like
is a
Hotch.
very good BAUS family episode, actually. I'm not gonna lie
Yes,
to you.
with the orange and everything. Okay. So the unsub calls and he only wants to talk to Cheryl. And Al's like, yeah, do it. Like, let her talk to him, whatever. And everyone else is like, no, no, no. But Morgan is like, Elle is right, which I did appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
This
get
is
some
Derek
good
Morgan. He
Elle.
loves his very angry gay sister so much.
Yeah. 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 This is a very like Derek Elle teasing episode, which I love. Um. So Gideon tells Elle to do it, you know, and then of course the guy's immediately like, "Dude, I have her twin. You don't think I know what her fucking voice sounds like?"
Also, Elle is the only woman in that house.
Elle is the only woman in that house. I noticed that. I was like, "Where's J?" That's when I noticed that JJ was like not with
Not
them.
there.
Like I noticed that she didn't do the briefing, but it was when they were like, "We need another woman," and they like looked around, and I was like, "Elle's the only other woman besides Cheryl in this house."
Like,
Cool, criminal
wow, what a
mind.
fucking unfortunate dude party, huh? Just an
Yeah.
unfortunate dude party. And so
Dude.
Elle has to like guide. She gives like Cheryl like a rundown of
Yeah.
like what to expect, what to do,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And
But so what
queen,
she says is important.
yeah,
She's like, use your sister's name, agree with everything, and
empathize.
empathize with him.
There you go.
We need him to we need him to empathize with you. So when the unsub calls, he's like, "Do you empathize with me? I empathize with you." And he uses that word so much. And everyone is just like, "That's weird."
Yeah, like Reed notes it down. He's like, empathize.
Yeah.
Empathize with who?
Yeah, he's like,
Like,
who does he need to empathize with? Also, Reed with this 2-finger
yeah,
typing.
he is so two-finger typing it. I'm like, okay, buddy.
Okay, buddy, you're doing your
Buddy.
best. He doesn't have an email. He doesn't know how to use a computer.
God, Spencer Reed is the most insufferable 24-year-old I've ever met.
If I'm in a 24-year-old and they said, I don't use email, I'd be like, how do you do anything? And they just be like, I just don't. I was like, okay.
Well, like there's two sides of like I don't use email. Like I don't use email to keep in touch with my friends. I'm not gonna send my friends a fucking email.
Sure.
But I also have a Twitter account that I needed to sign up for using my email address.
It's also like, I can understand him being like, I don't use social media. Because I know people who've quit Facebook, who've quit
Yeah.
Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Like, fucking go for it. But to not have an email, like he doesn't even use his FBI email. How do they have to call him every single time? How does he know when there's a meeting? An email goes around and he's like, "What, are we doing something?" Like, Reed, you need an email. You need an email, Reed. I don't understand.
It's
Like,
bonkers.
I
He
just
doesn't
don't
know
get
to
it.
he doesn't know how to do shit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever, Reed. He doesn't know
So
what
the
Facebook
unsub.
is.
Can I tell you what I think the funniest line from this whole fucking episode is?
Please.
The unsub says as menacingly as possible,
Mhm.
do you like chocolate?
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that fucking line got me so bad, but that is the funniest shit. They're all like very dramatically like holding their breath like, oh no, what's gonna happen next?
Do you like chocolate?
Yes.
I do as well.
Like, shut up.
She's literally like, she's like, what?
Yeah? Yeah,
Yes?
but let's talk about my sister whom you have kidnapped. That
Yeah.
line, I'm gonna put that line in this episode. I'm gonna scrape it from Netflix because that line delivery is so fucking funny to me.
It is so fucking.
It's just such a fucking bonkers line. They're like, this is our menacing bad guy.
Do you
Do you like chocolate?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That's crazy. So then he says like, "Oh, like you owe me $500,000. It is what I am owed." And then he's like, "Yeah, I'll call you in 15 minutes with details." And then hangs up. And I was like, "Why wait? Like, you're on the phone now. Just like tell us." I guess they needed like the sound, but it was just like, the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Trish says that she can see the moon, and they're all like, "Well, she's on drugs, you know. She
Mhm.
doesn't know what's going on." But then then Morgan is like, wait, guys, she wasn't blindfolded. So suddenly the stakes have gone up because she's seen him. So if he freaks out and panics, he'll kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Cheryl goes and tries to drink some wine. And Elle is like, okay, no. Let the girl have a glass of wine.
Let the girl have a glass of wine. Yeah.
Yeah. She's literally like, I know I'm not supposed to drink, but considering the circumstances. And Elle's like, we need you clear-headed.
I'm like, okay, but let the girl get a little tipsy, okay?
Yeah.
She's had a time and she will continue to have a time. Let her be a little tipsy.
Okay, this next part drove me crazy when I heard them say it. I was like, excuse me? So 8 o'clock is the call. They talk at 8 o'clock. He calls 15 minutes later and he says, Cheryl has to take the money, only she can touch the bills. She needs to make the drop. She can't have a wire. There's no look-alike. She cannot be surveilled by air or cars. Nothing. Just Cheryl alone. I will give my instructions over cell phone. And then he says she has to drop it off at exactly 3 a.m. That's 7 hours.
There's a long time there.
Like, he's like, you will wait 7 hours. Oh, I guess because they have to get the money.
I guess.
But
getting the money is not going to be any easier at 9 p.m. or 2 a.m. Like,
yeah.
You're still in the middle of the night. I could see if it was like, okay, noon tomorrow, so the banks wake up in the morning, right? But like, no, it's still like the middle of the fucking night. The banks crawl out of their bed and they come to make financial misery for us all.
Yikes. Yeah, it was just like, I was like, 7 hours.
That's a long ass time.
Also, $500,000. Yeah.
Like,
I was there at $500,000.
Yeah, bro.
I have $500. Oh. Okay. And then he says, I'll give the instructions over a cell phone. I think we're meant to assume that it's her cell phone. Like, he has her cell phone number?
Yeah.
Or like how would he get a cell phone to her?
Yeah. They don't say that. But they do show her later after her
with a cell phone.
With like, I assume her cell phone. But
I was like, so he has her phone number, why is he calling the house? Just call her.
Why can't he just call her directly? Why is he calling the one that he knows is bugged all to hell? Like,
just catfish the fucking texter, and like, why this process? Like,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So, and then right in front of the phone thing, they're like, it's okay, one car will go, tinted windows, it'll be fine. But they say that like where the bug is. So like the guy would know that they did in fact send surveillance with.
But they also don't know that it's bugged yet.
No, I know that, but like the unsub would know.
Yeah.
Like the unsub went, don't do it, and then they hang up and immediately they're like, we're going to send a car. He'd be like, guys, I just said, like,
guys,
he would hear it. Yeah, so that I was like, well, they just didn't care about that, I suppose. I think they were like, it's okay, no one knows it's bugged yet, so this isn't actually a plot hole because no one knows.
This isn't a plot hole because nobody's gonna watch this episode again to realize what a plot hole it is.
Exactly.
Newsflash, motherfuckers, we're watching this episode again.
We recognized it, and now I've exposed you.
You've been exposed.
So she drives. Her car has GPS.
It's like a yellow VW bug. Like, it's a cute little car.
Very cute. Very her.
Very her.
And the driving, I guess he gave like an address. I don't know. But she's driving, the car's GPS. So Morgan and Hotch follow her to the rental. It's like a rental car lot. And they're like, oh, Morgan, because Morgan does obsessional crimes, right? So Morgan is like, okay, they're gonna make her change cars and cell phones. And then they start talking like, Morgan is like, he didn't make like good demand. He didn't say like no ink packets, like non-consecutive serial numbers, like all of these things that you think somebody who wanted to use this money would say. He didn't say any of that. It was about her not having a wire and her not traced. So Morgan realizes that it isn't a ransom at all.
It's a kidnapping.
It's a second kidnapping, exactly. So they run out and the guy drives away and everyone makes it home safe. And then he calls them like out of breath.
Like he was running. It's like, homie, you just drove a car. Calm down.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you've ever watched all of the Fast and Furious movies. I have. They're delightful and wonderful. But they always come out of their extreme car driving stunts out of breath. And I'm always like, how hard are you working? How many of those big muscles are you working, Vin Diesel? Because
they do the pedal and they do the shifting and they just
It's a really good like arm workout, like you're a fucking cheerleader. Yeah, exactly. So every time in the Fast and Furious, they like come out of the car and they're always like, good race, man. I'm like, okay, you're being really obvious about the fact that you're not actually tired. Let it go,
Yeah.
Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, let it go.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's my divergence into the Fast and the Furious, which is a very delightful franchise to watch when you know
What's
nothing
your Fast
about
and the
cars.
Furious podcast called?
The Fast and the Furious, because my name's B. Get it? Shit. Too Fast, Two B's. I need to find somebody else named
Too
B.
Fast, Two B's. That just makes it sound like there's a swarm of bees racing.
Yeah.
Like an Olympic bee movie. Too Fast, Two Bees. Too Fast, Two Bees.
I just think the Fast and the Furious movies are actually really fun to watch. I don't know shit about cars. I'm just having a good time.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Zoom, zoom, fast. Let's go back to Criminal Minds, a show that is a lot less fun to watch than the Fast and the Furious movies sometimes.
Yeah, so he calls, he's out of breath, and he's basically, you find out that he's like obsessed with her. They say the word, but I did not write it down. And he, like, everything that she does, he reads as like a sign of affection. He thinks every touch, every glance, he reads it as like a sign that she wants him. They use this again in a later episode. In season 3, they use the exact same thing, but they explain it much better. That's why I'm telling you this, because they did not explain it well in this one. They were just like, "Oh, he thinks you like him, because of your glances." And she's like, "I didn't do anything," and they're like, "I know, it's him." Yeah. So then she admits to the dad that Trish and the boyfriend had just gotten engaged or were planning to get engaged. So they think that set this guy off.
Yeah,
that was the stressor. He was gonna lose Trish. So then they say, "Oh, we'll have Garcia look at anyone that could have a stalkerish tendency."
Yeah, they're like, "We'll look through his staff again and look at stalker tendencies."
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, and then this is when they go to the kitchen and Gideon is opening an orange. So he peels an orange and Elle just fucking snatches 2 slices. She's like, it's like Gideon and then it's Hotch and then it's Elle, and that's the second that orange is available, Elle is like, "Gimme," and just takes 2 slices, and then Gideon starts passing them around like he's the dad giving everyone their orange slice. I laughed so hard. I was like, Elle is the bratty little sister who's like, "Gimme, gimme, 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 gimme," and just takes it, and then the dad is like, "Jesus, here you go, and here you go." Oh, that's my favorite Gideon moment in the whole goddamn show, is him passing out orange slices.
He's just like a dad at their soccer game, and he got assigned to bring snacks for today.
And he brought orange slices.
It's just so fucking funny to me that Elle's like, "Okay, well, I'm just gonna fucking take this." And he's like, "Well, I was gonna give it to everybody if you had waited."
If you had waited, she literally just snatches that shit from him. She's like, "No really man is getting an orange slice before me." I love her. This episode literally made me be like, okay, fine. She's on some
Yeah! Yeah! Finally did it, y'all! We got James to love Elle. She
It only
does
took 5
some
episodes.
shit. Yeah.
She does some shit in this episode.
She does.
Damn.
She's
She
a
hates
queen.
men, y'all.
And
Like
I
we
love that
joke,
for
like
her.
we're like, ahaha, JJ hates men. No, Elle verbally confirmed her hatred of men several
Yeah.
times.
As she should. Get it, queen?
Oh my god. Not all men.
But also,
But
get it,
enough.
queen.
Also get it. Oh, and then God, Gideon is buck fucking wild.
Gideon traumatizes these people more than the unsubs do. This
unsub
fucking
calls,
scene gave me such anxiety.
and he does the thing again where he does not tell his team what he's thinking. And it's funny because later Rossi does this. When Rossi shows up, his like first episode is him just like writing in his little notepad, just like saying shit to the unsub and not saying anything about it. And Hotch is like, you can't just do that. But then like now Gideon is doing that shit, but Hotch is like, Gideon knows what to do.
Also, I feel like they all got so fucking tired of Gideon just doing what he does that they're like, okay, new old man on the team, no longer.
Not this
We are
time.
cutting this shit off. But Gideon, when the unsub calls them,
Oh god.
he doesn't answer the phone. He'll answer it for a second, hang up the phone.
Yeah.
The unsub will
like,
call again. He will answer it for longer this time. Like, let the unsub say a few words and then hangs up the phone again.
yeah, and the unsub keeps being like, I'm gonna kill her. If you hang up again,
He
I'll
does
kill
this
her.
like 7 times.
And it's torture. Sometimes he like waits, like makes the ring, like it rings for a long time. And then sometimes he's just like, click, click, done. Sometimes he lets him talk. Sometimes he doesn't. And then until the guy's super flustered. And the guy basically is like, I'm smarter than you are. And he like profiles the team.
He reads every single member on the team to filth, but they all of them have the exact same expression that I get when I get like anonymous hate on Tumblr when they're like, you're the fucking worst. And I'm like, I don't know your name. Like, he's just like, the token Derek Morgan. And Derek's over here just like, okay, yeah, what's up? Like, I'm having a great time.
It's like, yeah, you may hate me, but you're still coming to my blog to tell me that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So they all have the exact same face that I wear when somebody on the internet is like, square the fuck up, dude. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know your name.
I don't know you, and I'm just gonna delete this message. Bye-bye.
Yeah, exactly. So they all have such a good
we have
face.
to talk. Yeah, they do. So we have to talk about, though, what they say.
Okay.
Because this is the first time, this is one of like twice that somebody mentions Reed's autistic leaning. That's what the unsub says.
Yeah.
So,
and I thought that was a little strange. I feel like everybody in the series mentions this except for Reed himself.
Yeah, I feel like we need to give this a moment to talk about it. Because it's a big source of debate in the fandom, and kind of like different people give it different weight. So in canon, in the show, the text of the show, he gets called autistic here, and Alex Blake says he shows signs of Asperger, and that is
all the way in like season 8 or 9.
Yeah, that's it. Outside of canon, in interviews, Matthew Begubler has said that Reed is neurodivergent. He said that he probably has, Asperger's or something like that. But that's really kind of it.
Yeah, the text of the show does not give it any sort of time or weight.
No, and I definitely think Reed is autistic coded.
Yes.
In the same way that Emily Prentice is lesbian coded, I think that Reed is autistic. And I do think that should be taken into account when we talk about his interaction. But at the same time, I don't think anybody on the show was necessarily thinking of him being autistic outside of knowing a lot, rambling,
Mm-hmm.
you know, hyperfixation,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, and with all, I feel like it's always important to mention when we say like somebody's coded in this way to give kind
Oh,
of like
sure.
an explanation of what we mean. Coding
Mhm.
is sort of the way that we use to talk about how like somebody is heavily implied to be something, but it's never confirmed in the text itself. So you get this a lot when people are talking about like, oh, well, this certain character is queer coded. We're always like, okay, Emily Prentice, big fucking lesbian. Nowhere in the text does it say
Yeah.
that. It's just implied that she is probably not straight because everything that she do. So coding is sort of our way of being like, well, it's heavily implied,
Yeah.
Matthew may certainly act out Spencer Reed in this way with his view that he is neurodivergent, but nowhere in the text do they ever like actually confirm that, which I feel like is important because the text is all we have to go off of, really.
Yeah.
Like if you're living in a bubble and all you get is Criminal Minds, you're
Yeah.
not going to know the extra interviews that Matthew does. You're not going to know the extra discourse TM that surrounds it because all you have is the text. And so all you can read is the text, which is kind of, I think, how we go off of it here. I personally have never watched a fucking interview with any of the actors of Criminal Minds where they talk about Criminal Minds. So all I know is the text. I don't know
Yeah.
shit elsewhere. And
They
so
barely talk about the show in any interview ever.
yeah. Just like we barely talk about the show in this podcast.
Yeah.
But like I feel like it's important to note that like sure he might be coded some way, but the text doesn't back that up. And even
Yeah.
here, like Spencer like sort of like scoffs at it when the unsub is like bullying him about it, which like, okay, King, go off. Don't get bullied by somebody who is crazy. But like I feel like it's important to note that like this is said, it is not mentioned again.
Yeah, and I definitely do want to like keep in mind how he's coded, as we talk about him, but at the same time, like I don't think the show actually wants to grapple with what it would mean to have an autistic character. I
Yeah, the
think the
show
show
does not want to
uses
deal with
it.
that at all.
No, the show uses the quirks. Ha ha ha! He's awkward. Ha ha! They tease him, and that's it. So I think it's something to keep in mind, but at the same time, like the show does not want to.
Yeah, the show doesn't want to deal with it at all.
Yeah. So I just had to bring it up because this episode they talk about it. Okay.
Also,
So
the dude
yeah.
is like, Elle was promoted too early. I'm like, homie, she wasn't like promoted at all. She just kind of appeared here. She was not promoted.
She had a probation, presumably done with her probation. So like she did it like whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, she's not good enough to like run with the big boys. That whole thing.
Just so
and then
funny.
Hotch. Oh, so it's a good time to bring up the deleted scene in this episode. So my DVD had a deleted scene. It was like 30 seconds, hardly anything. But the unsub says that Hotch is like too obsessed with work, like so obsessed with work that he wouldn't leave to be with his pregnant wife.
Mm-hmm.
There is a deleted scene where he is on the phone with Haley at the house where she is going into labor. And he's like, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna come back. And she's like, no, stay there. Like, you'd never be able to live with yourself if you left. He doesn't do anything in this episode. Like, okay.
He really doesn't. I don't know why they didn't just have him leave, but
yeah, whatever. But there is a deleted scene where Haley is like, stay there. She's like a centimeter dilated. They gave her the drugs to slow it down. So she's like, just stay there, like it's fine. And so then when the unsub is like, you're so obsessed with work, you won't even go to your pregnant wife. Like, he was gonna, but like she said not to. So
On a second watch through, I really like Haley a lot more.
I love Haley. She gets so much undeserved hate. I can't wait until we get to the episodes. Everyone thinks she cheated on Hodge or was having an affair on Hodge. And there's
Which,
like,
yeah, it's heavily implied, but it's so funny too.
yeah,
But like early Haley is just so fun. She's just
so
like
fun.
she's just living her best life.
She's like, I got a baby. My husband's making money.
Yeah, exactly. My husband is paying the fucking bills. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, poor Haley.
Anyway.
Ripe peaches. Yeah. So Gideon, he like doesn't say anything about Gideon, does he?
He's just, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything. Oh, he says like, "Oh, you're so smart. You're so pedantic." Like blah blah blah. Reed has the artistic leanings. Derek Morgan's the token. Oh, he's like all muscle and no brain.
Yeah.
Which is
And
funny because
Derek reacts to that so fun. He's like, "Yes, I am very strong." I'm like, "Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
yeah, king."
But also, we learn later Derek has a law degree from
He's
Georgetown.
like, yeah,
He's
and
as
he's
much a
like
lawyer
an
as
expert in
Hostage.
obsessional crimes and worked for the ATF, so he knows how bombs work. Like, okay,
They
king.
really played down Derek Morgan's intelligence and try to make him like
The
douchebag
muscle
with a
bound
heart of
jock.
gold. Yeah, and he is, but he has a law degree. Like he's not an idiot.
Yeah, he's a smart boy. He's my smart son. I love him.
He's my strong, smart son. They went, oh no, we can't give Morgan everything.
He can't be.
Can't be
He can't
smart
have
and
the
hot
trifecta.
and nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Can't have the trifecta. Only 2 out of 3, guys.
Only 2 out of 3 at a time. Yeah, and then Elle was promoted too soon. So we get all this nonsense. And then the guy hangs up. Oh, he's like, I know what we're gonna do next, do you? And they hang up. And Gideon's like, I got more from this 5 minutes than I have the rest of the night. Meanwhile, the dad and the daughter are fucking like sobbing.
Yeah, because they did just hear this guy say that he is gonna kill
Yeah.
Trish.
Yeah.
But it's fine, guys. Don't worry. Gideon had it handled.
Yeah. And Gideon's like, he told me how to find him. So they take Cheryl to a safe house with like a limited number of staff of people. And Derek is like in the kitchen.
Did you notice this? Derek like leans over the sink to like brush cold water on his face. Did you notice that he's wearing a suit, like a full ass suit and tie this episode? And isn't that like
No, he
weird?
has been. He has.
I know.
Been.
It's just like
he wears full suit and tie.
It just
Until,
it just hit
like,
me this episode because
2.
we get to see the tie in profile, and
Yeah.
I'm like, this is weird. This is not my Derek Morgan.
No,
bring back Derek Morgan's muscle shirts, please.
It's so interesting that like that's what makes Gideon stand out so much. Is everybody else is wearing like a suit. Even Reed, I mean, they're short sleeve button downs, but he's wearing button downs and like ties and sweaters, you know. And he kind of sticks through it, but he becomes kind of like hipster chic. But eventually, like Derek is like muscle shirt, dress pants dude, and like Emily Prentice wears suits a lot, but eventually she just starts coming in fucking tank tops.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like JJ goes from like nice skirt suit to like jeans and a t-shirt to like butch suit. She goes on like a full journey.
And even like Elle just wears like dress pants and a regular shirt.
I feel like women though can get away with that more. Like if she wore like you know, a blouse and a blazer and dress pants, she looks like professional. But if he was wearing like a t-shirt and a blazer, you know.
Oh, definitely. We can definitely get away with that. It's very fun.
Derek is in the kitchen. Elle and Reed are talking. This is when they start to piece together that he must have been listening because he like is always been one step ahead of them. Kind of.
And so the people who are at the safe house with Cheryl are Morgan, Vincent, the FBI agent who later turns out to be, spoiler alert, the unsub. And that's it. Right? It's like just Morgan. And that
It's
dude.
it's the unsub, another guy, Morgan, Elle.
I don't think Elle and Spencer are there.
Elle is. Because remember, she comes in and saves her.
Yeah, but she
No,
has
they're
that
on the
conversation.
phone. They're on the phone, her and Reed.
No, I think they're right
Yes.
there, aren't they?
No, they're on the phone. They're on the phone. I promise.
What?
I promise they're on the phone.
What? No, I swear to God, they were just like talking. Oh
No,
wait, no,
they're-
you're right. You're right.
I'm right. I'm
You're
right.
right. You're right.
I'm
You're
right. I'm
right.
right. I'm right.
You're right.
Yeah. So the unsub Vincent grabs the other FBI guy and is like, "We're gonna sweep the perimeter. Never see that fucking guy again."
That guy's dead in a ditch
That guy's
somewhere.
dead. Yeah. So then the security guy goes into Cheryl's room and shuts the door, and she's like, "Oh, what's going on? Like, how's it going?" And he's like, "Oh, finally! Like, whew, I'm so nervous to be alone with you." And you're like, "Oh no, it's him.
It's that guy.
It's that guy." And then it like cuts to Derek like on the floor of the kitchen. Bum bum bum.
Yeah, they like
Yeah.
call him, and you see that his phone is just on the floor.
On the floor. One of his two phones. Just on the floor. Yeah, so Elle kind of figures out, they're like, "Oh no, we think the thing has been bugged." And Rita's like, "But they did a sweep and said there were no bugs." You heard them, audience, didn't you? No bugs. Yep. And then Gideon like takes the phone machine apart, and there's just like a microphone in there.
Yeah.
I don't understand. That's what I didn't understand. I was like, why is there just like enough space in this phone recording device for another recording device?
They really just were like, let's tear this fucking high-tech machine apart.
Yeah.
It's just so funny to me that none of them know how to do this. And they're just like, fuck it, we can take it apart, right? We can definitely do it. We can break something, yeah.
Just open it.
Just open it up, guys. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So they find the recording device. They're like, "Oh no, tell Elle." And then Elle like pulls out his knife and he's like, "Cheryl, do you ever wonder if people want to line you and Trish up next to each other and figure out the differences? Like, it's fine. I'm gonna cut you fucking open."
He's like, "I don't need to do that. I already know."
Yeah.
Like, homie, that is not the romantic line you think it is.
It's so fucking creepy.
He plays a good creepy guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So then Elle, you see Elle like come into the room and she's like, put the knife down, and she's like got her gun all like, "I hate men." Pew pew pew. And yeah.
They scuffle, they fight. She ends up winning because of course she does, Queen.
Shit out of him.
She does. And then she just like steps on his crotch.
Oh.
And she's like,
Queen shit. Queen shit.
This is her hot girl summer. This is just so good.
It's so good.
She's like, "You're gonna tell me where the other girl is now."
She's like got the gun at him, the heeled boot on his crotch, just like, "Tell me where she is." And then it like cuts to them like wheeling wheeling Trish out of there. And Reed asks, like, "How did Al get the information?" And Gideon says, "Oh, I'm sure she found some creative way to persuade him."
She beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, and then tried to cut his fucking dick off.
As she should, Queen.
And Reed was like, "Wait, but what?" And Gideon's like, "Sometimes it's best to just not ask questions." Which, Gideon, again, we had the Adrian bail. I told all of your jailmates, you snitched, and now it's Gideon. I don't ask when my team members creatively persuade people. Like, Gideon. I mean, Elle is on some hot girl shit. Let lesbians do what they want. Same time, is a cop. She is a cop, though.
Is a cop. Yeah.
I mean, I guess
we can't just like, she can't just like girl boss her way out of police brutality, because that is definitely what happened here, but she did kind of just girl boss her way out of police brutality.
No jail can hold me. I'm a girl boss.
Yeah, she just girl bossed her way out of brutality there, and that's fine.
This is one of those, like, I know he's also, like, a cop, but, like, she is also a cop.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
This is
And
just
she
cop on cop crime. It's fine.
Yeah, I was just like, once again, we don't ask.
We don't ask questions.
Yeah.
We do not ask questions.
Hate that shit. And then Derek. Oh, so then it cuts to Derek back at the BAU, shirt up. We get full peck nipple action on Derek. He got tased.
Yeah.
Which was like, okay. And then, but he got tased like in his side, so we get to see the whole delicious must. I read. Do you want to hear something super fucking funny?
Okay, what's that?
Kirsten Van Ness is queer in real life.
Uh-huh.
She thought she was a lesbian for like 10 years because she wasn't attracted to Shemar Moore. And she said, if I'm not attracted to Shemar Moore, I must not like men.
That's so funny.
Can you imagine? Like, Shemar Moore, like, he's like, I'm God, I'm the hottest dude on the fucking planet. And then being like, I'm not, but I don't like him. I
don't think he's that cute. Yeah.
I guess if he's the pinnacle of men and I don't like him, I don't like men.
Which,
like, okay, queen. Like,
fair thought. Like, that's okay. Yeah, I follow you down that thought process entirely, queen. That's so fucking funny, though.
That is so funny. Anyway, we get to see him shirtless. I guess that was one for the ladies.
One for the people who like men, which is
Yeah.
certainly not me, but I appreciate
thank
how
you.
much of a lovable beefcake he is.
He is the, like, eye candy.
Yeah.
Like, JJ wasn't there, so they were like,
Yeah.
Morgan,
You're
turn.
like, I guess we gotta get one of the men. Shit, take your shirt off. It's fine.
He's doing paperwork, and Elle comes in and is like, no one's gonna, like, care if you go home early. And he's like, well, I got nothing like 50,000 volts to, like, wake your brain up. So Elle's like, I'll help you, give me half. So he, like, hands her files, and she counts them, and then, like, drops 2 back on the stack. Like, goes to her desk.
They just have, I think what's good about Derek Morgan is that he has just such, like, a fun, like, sibling relationship with
everybody.
All, like, yeah, with everybody. He's just, like, your fun older brother.
Yeah, I like that. Derek Morgan is, like, the nicest guy. I mean, like, sometimes he's not, but for the most part, he's, like, the
just,
nicest
like, a nice
guy.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know, I feel like that's something that they oftentimes, like, overlook when they're like, here's how these people interact platonically.
Yeah.
You never get, like, a fun, like, older, like, like a sibling-esque, like, relationship like you do with Criminal Minds.
Criminal Minds really does, like, say this team is a family.
Yeah, they say it so much and so loudly. And then they're
So
like,
much.
don't worry though, Reed does still love JJ. And we're like, no. No.
I don't like that.
No.
I like how they thought about it in that context. Like, yeah, they do talk about being, like, family.
Mm-hmm.
Found family.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, some of you will fuck each other. Just heads up. Like,
just FYI.
Yeah.
Don't think about it too hard, okay? Don't think about it too hard.
Like, the ones that they don't, like, Morgan and Garcia are not that sibling relationship.
No, they are not.
And I think that's why I wanted them to be together romantically so badly.
Yeah, God, I love them.
I know. 1, they work so well together, but 2, they're, like, one of the only, pairings in the show that does not stem from, like, a sibling
relationship.
Bond. Like, I'd say, like, Emily and JJ, no sibling bond. Garcia, Morgan, no sibling bond. You know? I could even see, like, Emily and Garcia not really, like, siblings.
Yeah.
But then, like, JJ and Spencer.
Yeah.
Many times siblings. Many times described as family sibling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will never understand it. Elle is on some hot girl shit. Elle should have come back. I'm just gonna say that right now. Elle
She's on some hot girl shit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the episode.
That's the whole episode. Honestly, it wasn't a very exciting episode. We did our best.
This is not an exciting episode. I'm gonna give this episode a fucking like 2.
A 2. Damn, I'm kind of with you actually.
Everything else I've had a strong enough opinion about that when I rewatched it, I was like, ugh, this. You know, or like, oh yay, this. This episode is like, it's fine. It's fine. I don't give a shit about it. I forget it exists, except for the orange peeling moment.
Yeah, the orange peel moment is really the only good moment in this whole episode.
Yeah. That's why it's a 2 and not a 1. Like
yeah, I'm with you actually that it is a 2. I'm with you.
I like that they're developing the group banter.
The group dynamics are fun.
You know, we get a little more of that, like teasing Reed, but also Reed teasing Morgan back, and like Hotch participating, and Elle being nice to Morgan at the end. Like, I like that.
Did they say the name of the episode in this episode?
No, they just called the Mirror Twins.
Oh, so this is the first one that they don't actually say the episode title in the episode.
I don't think they did for Plain Sight.
No, they did.
Oh.
At some point, they were like, don't worry, he's hiding in plain sight, which makes no sense because the fucking episode title was just Plain Sight, but whatever.
They don't in this one. They also don't say Wheels Up.
Which is
they are
still
just
sad.
like, they were like, we've got 8. It's gotta be soon.
It's gotta be, right? Because we have so many frowny faces in that column of our stats sheet. It's just little frowny faces.
We get it by season 2.
It's a good fucking thing we love this show.
You know what? I feel like once we get out of season 1,
it'll feel like time is passing very quickly.
Once we start getting more JJ and Garcia, they really bring like a fun life to the show. Yeah, the episodes are not in. I'm just like, where's my cute girl humor?
where's my hot girl shit? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Elle gives us hot girl shit. We need the cute girl shit now. Elle gives us all that hot girl shit. I want my cute Penelope Garcia, and I want my please take me seriously, JJ.
Next time on Wheels Up the podcast, we're going to be watching episode 106, LDSK.
I have some thoughts about that episode. Capital T thoughts.
I remember this actually being an interesting episode.
I have some thoughts about the American political system. I have
we do.
I have thoughts about how Criminal Mind invokes it.
We will get into some capital T thoughts next time on Wheels Up. Until then, y'all can find us on social media at Wheels Up Pod everywhere, and also on YouTube if you just want to like put this up in the background. You can do that. All the episodes are up on YouTube now. Wow.
Oh yeah. Wow. Look at that.
Look at us go. Look at us go.
Yeah.
Do you have an ending quote for us? Is this our ending thing? We did such a good job not bungling the intro. I feel like we need to have some sort of outro.
I threw my fucking papers away.
You just threw your fucking papers everywhere. So maybe we've already bungled. Maybe we've already bungled the outro.
We did that like twice. I didn't know we were still.
I don't know. What's our outro? Do we have an outro? You guys should hit us up on social media at Wheels Up Pod to give us outro ideas.
Tweet at us.
Tweet at us. And give us outro ideas.
And better intro ideas.
Our intro is perfect the way it is, actually.
Oh, okay.
Good try. Good try, James. Our intro is perfect the way it is. Our outro needs some fucking work. Tweet at us.
Yeah. I still think Wheels Down.
Should we do the white person thing, like where we like clap when the plane lands?
What if we end every episode with like, we will begin our descent into Dulles Airport. Thank you for flying with us today. We just applaud ourselves at the end of every episode.